Hi guys, and welcome back to my business plan series, and this is the last one. It's number 4, so well done for making it this far. This section's all about the money and then a couple of extra little bits. It's the hardest section by far, but you'll be ready for it if you've done all the rest. And if you break it down, it's not actually that complicated. So let's get going. Okay, so we're going into page 13, which is your startup costs. Now, I have mentioned this briefly in other videos, but it is basically all the costs that you incur before you start business. So if you need a computer, any software, website is usually in the startup costs. So open a spreadsheet, label it startup costs, and write down all the costs you can think of and how much they are and the date you purchase them. And then as you incur the costs, you can just add them to your spreadsheet. It's quite simple, but just make sure you end up with a figure, like a final figure that is your startup cost figure. I'm going to put a worksheet which will be linked in the description, and I'm going to put like screenshots of all the spreadsheets and the columns you need and stuff, so it should be quite easy just to copy that. Okay, so page 14 is regular, fixed and variable costs. So this is 2 types of costs, and this is once you've started business, so not costs you've incurred before you start. So there are fixed and variable costs, and these will be costs that come up every month. So fixed costs are the same every month. So this could be rent or website domain. I mean, that comes out yearly, but you'd split it monthly and it would be the same each month. Any fixed bills, anything that is the same every month is a fixed cost. Variable costs vary each month. So this could be like a phone bill, or fees for card transactions, or stock. If you buy stock, could go in either. It could, if you're going to commit to buying the same amount of stock each month, then it would be fixed. And if you're going to vary the amount of stock depending on the seasons, then it will be variable. So have a think. This may change as you start your business, obviously, because you'll find out more and more costs that you'll probably incur along the way. But just have a think about what costs relate to you and your business and whether they're fixed or variable, and then add those to your spreadsheet. So if you put startup costs on the first little tab, and then the second tab have fixed regular costs, and then the third tab have variable regular costs. Your fixed and variable costs together will be your expenses. When you're doing business, you can do a different expense sheet and just label them all as one and have it as an expense sheet. This is for the preparation. So if you were to go and ask for and apply for funding or ask for a loan, the bank or the money lender would want to see that you've thought about your fixed and variable costs. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit confusing. I'm going to try and explain it as simply as possible, and if you have any questions, just please ask and I will do my best to answer them. So what you want to do, once you've worked out which fixed and variable costs you think you will have each month, you can then work out your expenses per day. Say you put in phone bill, £20 every month, and that was your one fixed cost. And then you had stock as a variable cost. So that could vary between, say, £100 and £200. So for your variable costs, you need to work out an average, what you think the average will be. So for that example, it would be £150 for stock each month. I'm just going to use this example with one fixed and one variable just to keep it as simple as possible. So you've got your £20 phone bill and you've got your £150 stock. So what you want to do with each of those costs is break it down to per week, per day, and then per year. So your £20 phone bill will be £20 per month, and then 20 times 12 for the year. And then it would be 20 divided by 4 for the week. And then for the day, you need to work out how many days a week you're open, if that's applicable to you, or if you're not going to work on Sundays, or if your shop is going to be closed on Sundays. Don't divide the weekly cost by 7, divide it by the amount of days that you'll be open or in business. I'm going to put a spreadsheet on the screen to make it a little bit clearer. But so basically you want to work your way through all your fixed costs, all your variable costs, and work out the cost per month, per year, per week, and per day, okay? So give that a go. If you find this sort of stuff fun and easy, then by all means factor in any summer holidays, any Christmas closures, and try and do it really, really accurately, like as in, so it won't be between 12 months, it will be between 11.5 months or something like that for the year. But by all means, just keep it as simple as possible. The reason for this is just to know that you've actually put this thought in, and you could tell someone instantly how much cost you're expecting or how much expense you're expecting per day. It's important to get your costs per day, because then that is a figure that you know that you need to bring in per day. So if your expenses work out as £1,000 a day, it's like, okay, I need to change something up, because the chances of me bringing in £1,000 a day from the get-go are very slim, or even within a year. If your expenses are much lower than you thought, then great, then you're going to break even sooner than you thought. But the point is that if you know your expenses per day, you know exactly how much money you need to bring in per day, and then that's important because obviously that's your break even, and then you start to make a profit. Page 15 is your average customer spend. So this is quite different if you have a physical premises or if you're a freelancer, but I'll try to cover most bases. So if you have a physical premises, like a shop, this is how many customers you'd expect per hour and how much you think they would spend on average. So you'd have to look at what you stock, the prices, and what the customer behavior and needs are. And it is all estimation, so there's no right or wrong. You just have to make the best possible educated guess that you can. So work out, if you open 9 till 5, when is it going to be busy? Is lunchtime going to be your busiest hour? So are you going to get more customers in that time? Are they going to be spending more? You basically want to work out how many customers you'd expect in a day and what their average spend would be. And this is just an educated guess. If you're a freelancer, work out what you think your average customer is likely to spend based on the services and prices you offer. Would it be like £1,000 per customer, and the work would take you approximately 2 to 3 weeks, for example? Just think about if you're offering smaller pricings or whether you're offering like a larger service that would maybe one customer would see you through for 6 months. Like it could be anything depending on what your business type is and what you're offering. Page 16, cash flow forecast. And this is without a doubt the most evil thing in the business plan ever. But I'm going to try and make it simple, and I'm going to put up a spreadsheet on the screen to hopefully make it as easy as possible. The cash flow forecast is basically you forecasting how much income you think you're going to get from month 1 up until the point where you break even, and then you start making a profit. So to break even, you need to be bringing in more money than is going out every day, plus you need to have covered your startup costs. So in your spreadsheet, you want 4 columns. Column 1 is your costs per month. You start with, obviously on the first thing it would be month 1, month 2, month 3, all the way down. Costs on your first month will probably be the same each month for, I would say, at least a year, and then maybe allow for inflation in the second year. So you go back to the costings, the fixed and variable, and you look at your monthly total. So that is the fixed and variable added together for the month. And you put that in that first column, and you can put that in the first 12 cells because that's the first 12 months. So that is your monthly expenses for the first 12 months of your business. Column 2 will be how many customers you expect in that first month. So if you're a shop and obviously you've just opened, it is just an estimate, but try to make a reasonable estimate of the amount of customers you think you can attract in that first month. If you're a freelancer, you might have to allow for no customers this month because it is very hard at the beginning, to get your name out there. A lot of it's to do with networking. But if you're ambitious, then maybe put in 1. But for a freelancer, I would allow for the first 3 months possibly to not have any customers unless you've lined them up before you've gone full-time into your business, which is wise, to be fair. First column is your monthly expense. Your second column is how many customers you expect in that first month. Your third column, you enter your average customer spend. So whatever you've worked out as your average customer spend, you times by the number of customers in column 2. And then column 4, you work out how much that profit or loss is. So you look at your expense in column 1, and then your income in column 3, and then you work out whether that is a profit or a loss. It's absolutely okay for it to be a loss. If you start a business like a shop or a cafe or a restaurant, it is most likely not going to be a profit until at least a year. If you're a freelancer, your costs will most likely be much lower, your expenses will be lower, but it still may take 6 months to start making a profit, and that's absolutely fine. Don't feel disheartened if you're not making a profit straight away. It's really important. But as well, this could make you adjust your startup costs, or it could make you want to cut costs in some way, and that's fine too. So keep on with this. So obviously to go down the months, try to do the first 2 years, so the first 24 months. Obviously your customers will increase with time. Maybe their average customer spend will increase with time. And then in the second year, allow for your costs to go up slightly due to inflation. And then just fill in all that, and then see when your break-even point is. That's really important. So you can say, oh, I think my break-even point will be month 7 or whatever. That's really important to know when you'll break even and when you'll start making a profit. You can do it. Okay, so that is all the money stuff done, which you'll probably be glad about because it is a bit of a headache, but see how you get on, and if it's confusing, just ask me and I will try to help. Right, page 17. This is just a few little bits left now that I think are important, but they're just little bits to add on the end. So page 17, risk assessment. So again, this is really helpful if you are applying for funding, but if you're not, it's always good to consider this stuff. It's always good. You're going to come up against hurdles and problems, so it's always good to be prepared. The risk assessment will basically have, again, do a spreadsheet. I'll put one up on the screen. So the first column will be the risk. So think of economy, environment, illness, all the possible risks to your business. Like if it's just you, what happens if you get ill and can't work? If you're reliant on Brexit not screwing anything up, then put Brexit as a risk. So that's your first column. Second column is whether it is low risk, medium risk, or high risk. So basically how serious it is to you and your business. The next column is how likely it is to happen. Yeah, self-explanatory really. Is it likely that you'll get so ill that you can't work? Probably not. Yeah, just put how likely each one is to happen. And then the last column is how you can minimize that risk. So using the health one, illness, stay healthy, look after yourself, make sure you sleep, eat well, exercise. I know it sounds silly, but it's good that people can see that you've thought about this stuff, and if one of these things did happen, you're going to be a little bit more prepared for it than you were before. If you want to add another column as well, you can always put a how to solve it if it does happen. So what would you do if that did happen? Just have a little backup plan, and then you're going to be pretty prepared, to be fair. Okay, page 18, SWOT analysis. You might have done this in school, I'm not sure. So SWOT is basically your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So basically those 4 columns, just fill them in as best you can. Think of your skills and experience, the environment, the economy, trend predictions, competitors, your market, the state of your industry, and the team involved, whether it's just you. So go through all those factors and then work out what strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats come from those and would affect your business. Page 19 and the last page. Well done for getting this far. Your business plan is almost done. So for future goals and the bigger picture, which is page 19, just think about where you want to take your business. Think about where you want to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years if you're that kind of person. I'm not. And just write where you want to take it. Like if you are a baker and you've started selling cakes at market stalls and that's your business, maybe in 2 or 3 years you want to have your own shop. Or maybe in 5 years you want to have 3 shops. Think about where you want to take your business, and yeah, it could be really rewarding to sort of see where you can take this if you break those big goals down into manageable goals. But it's good to have a future vision and an idea of where you want to go from here. Yay! Well done. Thank you for watching all of this, and I hope it wasn't too confusing. Please feel free to contact me with any questions you have, and good luck!